He not even speaking on nothing over there. He just letting motherfuckers do this all day. I ain't gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna let this one say whatever. And pray that Rem not gonna say nothing to refute it. Nah, them days is fucking over. You don't get that grace from me anymore.
No, because Claressa, what happened, honey? I thought you was Papoose crazy. Like, what happened, girl? So have y'all been seeing all these recordings and videos and different stuff going around about Papoose and Claressa Shields?
Girl, grab your popcorn and hold on to your seats because the hip-hop drama will just spun completely out of control and nobody, and I mean nobody, is safe from the absolute carnage. Just when you thought the internet couldn't get any messier, the rap gods looked down and said, "Hold my mic. We have officially hit a point of maximum pettiness where the lines between love, war, and absolute embarrassment are completely blurred. Are you ready for the ultimate betrayal that has social media in an absolute chokehold right now?" Word on the street, and by street I mean the deepest, darkest corners of leaked group chats and security footage, is that Claressa Shields has been caught red-handed playing a dangerous game of hide-and-seek behind Papoose's back. But wait, it gets 10 times better. Just as the collective internet's jaw hit the floor, none other than Remy Ma decided she had seen enough, stepped into the arena, and absolutely fired back with a level of savage energy that has everyone screaming. We are talking about a web of lies so tangled, so unbelievably toxic, that even the most seasoned reality TV producers couldn't script this level of madness. How did a petty back-and-forth beef with 50 Cent end up exposing a secret life, a hidden man in the living room, and a husband looking completely bewildered on the sidelines? If you thought you knew the truth about who was using who for a meal ticket, you are completely wrong. Strap in because we are about to blow this whole thing wide open. The absolute madness of this entire situation didn't just manifest out of thin air, because we all know that in the messy world of celebrity relationships, there is always a long toxic trail of breadcrumbs leading up to the ultimate explosion. To truly understand why the internet is currently in a state of absolute meltdown, we have to look closely at the main players involved in this reality TV show of a life, starting with the heavyweight champion herself, Claressa Shields, and her self-proclaimed ride-or-die partner, Papoose. For months, people have been watching this dynamic with a mix of confusion and pure amusement, scratching their heads and wondering why a world-class athlete was running around acting like the ultimate protector for a married man whose peak relevance in the music industry feels like a distant memory. The collective public was out here constantly asking how someone with so much to lose could be so deeply invested in a situation that looked incredibly shaky from the outside looking in, but Claressa kept insisting that she had everything under control, and that her loyalty was unmatched. She was constantly parading around social media, fighting his battles, jumping into internet feuds, and acting like the ultimate prize, while the rest of the world was just waiting for the other shoe to drop because things simply did not add up. What the public did not realize was that while Claressa was busy putting on a massive performance of devotion for the cameras, she was allegedly executing her very own secret game plan behind closed doors the entire time. Papoose was out here walking around with his chest puffed out, thinking he had this successful, powerful woman completely locked in and dedicated to his cause, feeling like the ultimate mastermind who had secured another comfortable situation for himself. Little did he know, he wasn't the main attraction in her life at all, but rather a temporary screen used to keep the public distracted, while she was allegedly treating him like a side dude and entertaining her very own playthings on the low. All that hooting and hollering she was doing across the internet over a married man was nothing but a massive smoke screen, a calculated distraction to keep the spotlight away from what was really going down in her private life when the cameras stopped rolling. It is the ultimate plot twist in a saga that was already overflowing with bad decisions, clout chasing, and internet nonsense, proving once again that the people who scream the loudest about their loyalty on social media are usually the ones with the most to hide. But of course, this house of cards couldn't stay upright forever, especially not when you have legendary instigators like 50 Cent lurking in the shadows, just waiting for the perfect moment to burn the entire building down to the ground. The bad blood between 50 Cent and Papoose isn't anything new, as these two have been going back and forth with a series of disrespectful, AI-generated memes since January, turning the timeline into a digital war zone. Papoose, feeling a little too confident in his lyrical abilities and his current standing, decided it would be a fantastic idea to drop a diss track aimed directly at the head of G-Unit, thinking he could secure an easy win and get some quick internet points. This bold move only angered 50 Cent even more, But instead of responding immediately with a track of his own, Curtis Jackson did what he does best, which is retreating into the shadows, staying completely quiet, and gathering the kind of devastating information that completely ruins lives. Because 50 Cent went a considerable amount of time without saying a single word back, Claressa took that silence as a massive sign of weakness and thought it was completely safe to come online and brag to her followers that her man had finally won the war. She was on the internet acting completely untouchable, throwing subliminal shade and celebrating a victory that had not even been earned, which was ultimately her biggest and most fatal mistake in this entire saga. You see, that boy Pap is something serious when it comes to starting things he cannot finish, and honestly, he deserves every single piece of backlash and every brutal diss track anybody decides to hand over to him at this point, because he brought this entirely on himself. He really thought he could play with a master of psychological warfare without any real consequences, and now the universe is handing him the ultimate reality check. It is officially time for Buddy to get back into the recording booth and figure out a miracle, because right now, everybody is handing out dishes of pure embarrassment, and he is being forced to eat every single bite. The internet is completely ruthless, with people left and right making jokes about how Claressa got hit by all 5 guys, and didn't even bother to bring a burger back home to the crib, which is just a testament to how wild the mockery has become. If Claressa had just stayed in her lane and avoided playing directly in 50 Cent's face, she probably could have kept her secret life running smoothly for another few months without anyone ever finding out the truth. But the moment she decided to taunt him online was the exact moment that all hell officially broke loose, changing the trajectory of her entire reputation in a matter of minutes. 50 Cent responded to her taunts by unleashing a weapon of pure, unadulterated disrespect, posting a heavily edited picture where Papoose and Claressa's faces were crudely swapped onto completely different bodies, captioning it with a sarcastic remark about how handsome they looked. But he didn't just stop at a funny picture, because he followed it up with a devastating question that sent shockwaves through the entire community, asking Pap to check with his old lady about whether she was spending her time messing around with a character named Maserati Bud. 50 Cent boldly declared to the entire world that he didn't need to make things up, because he was sitting on a goldmine of actual Ring camera videos that captured every single entrance and exit from her residence. In case anybody in their camp wanted to call his bluff or claim that he was just making up wild rumors for clout, 50 Cent immediately doubled down by posting a very real, undeniable picture of Claressa and Maserati Bud hanging out together inside a recording studio. He made sure to point out that Maserati Bud was all over Claressa during the Christmas holidays, mockingly asking Papoose where he was hiding while his woman was out here acting like a complete bop for the entire industry to see. This immediately triggered everyone's memory of the massive public outcry that happened during Christmas when fans noticed that Papoose completely abandoned Claressa to spend the holidays with his actual wife, Remy Ma, and their young daughter. Back then, people were feeling incredibly sorry for Claressa, picturing her sitting at home all by herself during the holidays while the man she constantly defends was playing happy family with his real wife. But as it turns out, she wasn't hung up on Papoose not being around at all, because she already had her own secret holiday entertainment lined up and ready to go the moment the coast was clear. What she absolutely did not expect, however, was for 50 Cent to somehow intercept the security footage, get his hands on the receipts, and weaponize the entire situation to completely destroy Papoose's pride on a global scale. The moment this messy reveal hit the blogs, Claressa immediately went into full defensive mode, scrambling to put out the fire by coming online to claim that she barely even knew who Maserati Bud was, and that the rumors were completely baseless. She tried to tell her audience that the only reason this man was ever inside her house in the first place was because he happened to tag along with her close friend Nene, trying to paint it as an innocent, one-time coincidence. She even went as far as to record a live phone call between herself and Maserati Bud, desperate to show the world that they had never slept together, and that the entire narrative was just a giant misunderstanding manufactured by their enemies. During that recorded conversation, she kept repeating how crazy the situation looked, while trying to convince everyone that they were just talking about music and business, but her frantic energy told a completely different story. She was practically begging him to validate her cover story on the record, acting like she didn't know the true nature of the person she was dealing with when she decided to target Curtis Jackson, a man known for backing people into corners and never letting them go. Maserati Bud initially seemed like he was going to play along with the defense, stating during the call that nothing physical had occurred, and that 50 Cent was simply using his name as a pawn to get back at Papoose in the most painful way possible. For a brief second, it looked like this recorded phone call might actually kill the entire rumor dead in its tracks, and give Claressa the escape route she so desperately needed to save her relationship and her public image. But instead of fixing the problem, the sheer desperation of recording and posting that phone call rubbed Maserati Bud completely the wrong way, wounding his pride and making him decide to flip the entire script on her. He realized she was trying to use him as a scapegoat to look innocent, so he decided to throw away the script, stop protecting her reputation, and lay every single piece of dirty laundry directly onto the table for the world to see. He came out publicly and warned her that he had been trying his absolute best to spare her feelings and protect her career, even when other major bloggers like Geisha 305 were putting the information out there weeks prior. He claimed that he was the one who personally reached out to bloggers to get the story taken down because he wanted to keep things plain and avoid internet drama, but since she wanted to play games with a real one, he was going to match her energy. He made it clear that where he comes from, men don't run to the internet to talk about what they do behind closed doors. But since she decided to secretly record him for clout, all bets were officially off. Maserati Bud revealed that he had actually spoken to 50 Cent before the drama even escalated, and that 50 had advised him to just play dumb and let the situation play out without making a massive scene on social media. But because Claressa tried to make him look like a random intruder who used her friend to get inside her house, he was now prepared to release every single piece of raw footage and evidence he had stored on his phone. He dropped the ultimate bombshell by confirming that on Christmas Day, he was actively chilled out inside her residence, sitting right there in the living room while she was on FaceTime trying to convince Papoose that she was completely alone. He boasted that he was sitting in the exact same chair that he personally helped her pick out for her home, revealing a level of intimacy and domestic connection that went far beyond a simple casual friendship, exposing the fact that they had been building a secret life right under Papoose's nose. The revelation that Maserati Bud was not only chilling in Claressa's living room on Christmas Day, but was actually sitting in a chair he personally helped her pick out completely shattered any defense she had left. He didn't just stop at the furniture design details either, because he went on to expose the fact that he was deeply involved in choosing the very bed she slept on, indicating that their secret dynamic had been going on for a very long time. Maserati Bud made it explicitly clear to the entire internet that he and Claressa did absolutely everything together, ranging from writing and recording music in late-night studio sessions to just casually hanging out at her crib on more occasions than anyone could count. To think that Claressa allowed this man so deeply into her personal space, into her private sanctuary where she supposedly built a life, while simultaneously parading her undying loyalty to Papoose online, is a level of deception that completely blew the internet's mind. What makes this entire situation even more insane and incredibly chaotic is the fact that this news had actually been floating around the industry for a while now, but it was actively being suppressed. The public found out that a well-known media commentator named Geisha 305 was actually the very first person to break the news to the world, claiming weeks ago that Maserati Bud and Claressa were dealing with each other on a romantic level. However, back when the news first leaked, Claressa immediately went into panic mode, using her massive platform, her status as a world-class athlete, and the threat of heavy legal warfare to pressure Geisha into scrubbing the content entirely. She reportedly threatened to slap the blogger with a massive cease and desist letter and drag her into a high-profile court battle, aggressively claiming that the entire story was a fabricated lie designed to ruin her career. Because of that intense legal pressure and the fear of a costly lawsuit, Geisha 305 had no choice but to back down and take the video off her page, which explains exactly why the rumor didn't gain a massive amount of traction when it first surfaced. But the moment 50 Cent decided to jump into the arena and post that exact same picture of Claressa and Maserati Bud on his massive Instagram page, Geisha felt completely vindicated and decided it was time to step back into the light. She came back online to tell her followers that she vividly remembered the absolute meltdown Claressa had back in the beginning of February 2025, when that picture and the accompanying video were first exposed on her blog. Geisha pointed out that Claressa was about to completely lose her mind, because she was terrified of the immediate backlash she would face from Papoose if the truth about her secret industry link-ups ever became common knowledge. But now that 50 Cent has laid the entire blueprint out for the world to see, and Maserati Bud has actively backed him up with undeniable receipts, voice notes, and timeline confirmation, it is going to be virtually impossible for Claressa to keep playing the victim. When the initial wave of 50 Cent's posts hit the internet, Claressa tried to spin a narrative that Maserati Bud was just a desperate clout chaser who had been trying to force a connection with her ever since he tried to convince Geisha 305 that they were an item. She claimed that she had checked him months ago and told him to remove every single picture and video of her from his social media pages because having so many candid media files of them together looked incredibly weird and inappropriate for a woman in a committed situation. According to Claressa's version of the story, when she confronted him via direct messages and told him to delete the content, Maserati Bud supposedly made up a ridiculous excuse about how removing the posts would completely mess up the aesthetic grid flow of his Instagram page. She tried to show her direct messages to the public to prove that she had explicitly stated she was not interested in him romantically, attempting to paint him as an obsessive fan who was manipulating old studio footage to destroy her life. But that desperate attempt to flip the script and turn herself into the innocent party completely backfired the moment Maserati Bud decided he was done playing nice and exposed the true reason behind their public secrecy. The absolute final nail in the coffin for Claressa's cover story was when Maserati Bud bravely stepped forward to reveal the real, raw reason why she refused to ever be seen out in public with him despite their deep connection. He admitted that while they got along fantastically behind closed doors and spent an immense amount of time in each other's company, the relationship hit a massive roadblock because Claressa could never get him to commit to a traditional, exclusive relationship. Maserati Bud told her straight to her face that he was a man of the streets who was only interested in dating multiple women at the same time, and that if she wanted to be in his life, she had to accept being just one of many options in his rotation. He exposed the fact that Claressa was deeply hurt and broken by his refusal to make her his one and only queen, especially because she viewed herself as a heavyweight champion who deserved ultimate exclusivity from any man she entertained. Maserati Bud literally taunted her online, stating that she was secretly furious because he refused to give up his other women for her, which deeply wounded her pride and made her realize she could never parade him around as a trophy. She absolutely did not want to be seen in public with a man who could easily be claimed by multiple other women stepping out of the woodwork at any given moment, which would completely ruin her carefully crafted public image as an untouchable queen. So instead of walking away from a man who refused to commit to her, Claressa allegedly decided to compromise her morals by settling for seeing Maserati Bud completely on the side while continuing to parade Papoose around as her loyal public partner. She used Papoose as a shield of respectability to maintain her wholesome image, while secretly fulfilling her emotional and personal desires with a man who treated her like an option, creating a toxic cycle of deception that was always destined to blow up in her face. The irony of the entire situation is downright hilarious, considering how much energy she spent attacking other people on the internet for their lack of morals, while she was running a high-stakes double life in the dark. The public reaction to this entire unraveling has been an absolute circus of mockery, memes, and deep analysis from every single gossip channel on the internet, with people refusing to let Claressa live this down. Insiders close to the camp have started leaking information about how the confrontation went down behind closed doors the moment Papoose finally saw the undeniable receipts posted by 50 Cent. According to these anonymous sources, Claressa is planning to maintain a strict public stance of complete denial, hoping that if she ignores the noise long enough, the internet will eventually move on to the next major celebrity scandal. However, when the cameras were off and Papoose aggressively confronted her about the Ring camera footage and Maserati Bud's explicit claims, she allegedly broke down and came clean about a significant portion of the rumors. The insiders claim that Claressa desperately tried to minimize the damage by telling Papoose that she had only cheated on an emotional level, swearing up and down that their connection never actually became physical or intimate. She tried to convince him that writing music, picking out furniture, and hanging out late at night were just signs of a deep friendship that crossed the line into emotional dependency, but that she never crossed the ultimate line of physical betrayal. But regardless of whatever elaborate lies or comforting stories Claressa has to tell Papoose to keep him from packing his bags, the undeniable truth of the matter is that the damage to his reputation is completely permanent. The next time Papoose walks onto a red carpet, attends a high-profile boxing match, or shows his face at a public industry event alongside Claressa, the entire room is going to be whispering, laughing, and looking at him completely sideways. He is officially trapped in a situation where he looks incredibly silly to the entire world, walking around like a proud partner while everyone else knows the exact details of what was allegedly happening in his woman's living room on Christmas Day. And you already know that none other than Remy Ma was sitting back, watching this entire house of cards collapse with the biggest, most satisfied smile on her face, completely loving every single second of the chaos. Remy Ma has been saying for years that no self-respecting woman could ever truly respect a man like Papoose because of his historical pattern of living completely off the wealth, fame, and success of the women he attaches himself to. For a long time, the collective internet thought Remy Ma was just being incredibly bitter, toxic, and spiteful, because Papoose decided to walk away from their marriage after she was publicly accused of stepping outside the relationship herself. The public used to bash Remy Ma for throwing dirt on his name, accusing her of trying to ruin the reputation of a man who stood by her during her darkest times. But this recent exposure completely changes the entire narrative around their past divorce. It turns out that Remy Ma might have been entirely right about his character this whole time, because here we go again, watching Papoose tolerate absolute disrespect and public embarrassment just to maintain his comfortable lifestyle. The script has completely flipped, and the audience is realizing that the dynamic between Papoose and the women in his life is far more transactional and calculated than anyone ever cared to admit. The sheer level of embarrassment flooding the internet right now is truly unmatched, as the public realization of what Papoose is actually tolerating begins to set in. People across social media are pointing out the ultimate irony of a man who built a 15-year reputation on being the blueprint of a loyal ride-or-die husband, only to end up looking completely clueless on a global stage. The online commentary has turned into a ruthless sport, with fans constantly debating how someone who survived the heavy scrutiny of the music industry could allow himself to get played so spectacularly in the bright lights of digital media. Every single gossip forum is having an absolute field day, analyzing his body language in old videos, with fans claiming they can pinpoint the exact moment the control shifted away from him entirely. The immediate fallout of this drama is already manifesting as a massive reputation crisis that threatens to completely dismantle the professional standing of everyone involved. Industry insiders are whispering that high-profile sponsors and brands are quietly reviewing their multi-million-dollar contracts with the heavyweight champion, terrified of being attached to a messy narrative involving leaked security footage and chaotic late-night studio link-ups. There are active reports circulating behind the scenes that major sports networks are questioning whether the intense, non-stop digital distractions will negatively impact her focus inside the boxing ring, where absolute concentration is a literal requirement for survival. The financial stakes are incredibly high, and the sudden shift from mainstream athletic excellence to chaotic reality TV drama has corporate executives sweating behind closed doors. To make matters infinitely worse, legal experts are predicting a massive wave of intense courtroom warfare, as lawyers get aggressively involved to save what is left of their clients' public images. Word on the street is that a high-powered legal team has already been instructed to prepare a massive, multi-million-dollar defamation lawsuit targeting both 50 Cent and Maserati Bud for their public statements. The goal of this aggressive legal strategy is to slap everyone with heavy gag orders and force content removals, attempting to freeze the spread of any further damaging receipts before the narrative is completely solidified in the public consciousness. But seasoned internet commentators know that once the viral genie is out of the bottle, trying to sue the entire internet into submission is a complete exercise in futility that usually just invites more mockery. Meanwhile, the public backlash has reached a fever pitch, with thousands of angry fans completely flooding comment sections to demand accountability, clarity, and real answers. People are actively accusing the camp of running a massive, highly calculated operation of pure deception, tricking the audience into investing in a fake fairy tale of love and loyalty, while the reality was incredibly messy. The extreme shift in public sentiment has caused a massive drop in social media engagement metrics, proving that the modern audience has absolutely zero tolerance for creators who treat their supporters like they are completely blind. The collective internet is refusing to buy the emotional cheating excuse, loudly declaring that you do not pick out household furniture and late-night studio spaces with a casual acquaintance unless something deeply inappropriate is going on. As the pressure continues to mount to unbearable levels, hypothetical rumors of a complete, permanent professional separation between the two main partners are beginning to look more and more real by the second. Insiders are speculating that behind the confident public smiles and the defiant social media posts, A massive financial and personal division is quietly being organized by management teams who realize the current partnership is completely toxic. The public is eagerly anticipating a formal press conference or an official statement to address the chaos, but the absolute silence from the main camp is only fueling the wildfires of speculation. The entire industry is holding its collective breath, waiting to see who will be the very first person to break under the immense pressure and officially wave the white flag of surrender. The absolute comedy of the situation is that while the main camp is completely burning down, the surrounding hip-hop community is treating the entire event like premium entertainment. Other high-profile rappers and media personalities are subtly jumping into the comment sections, leaving cryptic emojis and sarcastic remarks that completely validate 50 Cent's legendary status as the ultimate internet bully. The general consensus among industry vets is that Buddy should have never tried to flex his lyrical muscles against a man who literally specialized in destroying massive hip-hop careers for pure sport back in the early 2000s. It is a harsh, brutal lesson in internet survival that is currently playing out in front of millions of captivated viewers who refuse to look away from the screens. What really cements this entire saga as an absolute classic piece of digital commentary history is the sheer volume of receipts that continue to leak out despite the heavy legal threats. Every single time the main subject attempts to post a confident video claiming that the storm has officially passed, a brand new audio snippet or a fresh security screenshot mysteriously finds its way to the top of the blog pages. It is a highly coordinated, relentless stream of pure exposure that leaves the defense team absolutely no room to breathe or formulate a believable cover story. The audience is watching a slow-motion car crash of a public relations strategy, where every single move made to fix the problem only makes the actors involved look 10 times more guilty than before. At the end of the day, this entire situation serves as the ultimate cautionary tale about the immense dangers of clout chasing, fake internet loyalty, and playing games with people who have absolutely nothing to lose. The power dynamics have completely shifted, leaving the once untouchable champions of social media looking incredibly vulnerable, embarrassed, and completely backed into a dark corner with no clear exit strategy. The narrative is officially written in stone, and no amount of emotional phone calls, recorded conversations, or legal threats will ever erase the image of Maserati Bud, sitting comfortably in that living room on Christmas Day. The hip-hop drama wheel will undoubtedly continue to spin, but the permanent stains left on these specific reputations will remain active for a very long time to come. What a completely wild, toxic, and utterly unbelievable ride this has been. And you already know the internet is never going to let any of these people live it down. The absolute level of messiness we just witnessed is exactly why you can never take anything these celebrities show you on social media at face value. But now, I want to hear directly from the realest audience on the internet. What do you guys honestly think about this entire situation? Do you believe Claressa's frantic claims that she only cheated on a purely emotional level? Or do you think Maserati Bud's receipts about the living room furniture and the Christmas Day FaceTime call prove that something much deeper was going down behind closed doors? And what about Papoose? Is he officially trapped in a situation where he has to swallow his pride because she is his ultimate meal ticket? Or will he finally listen to Remy Ma, pack his bags, and walk away with whatever respect he has left? Drop your thoughts, your wildest theories, and your best roasts in the comments section below because you already know I am going to be down there reading every single one of them. If you want to make sure you never miss another massive, dramatic breakdown of the absolute truth behind your favorite entertainment figures, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on those post notifications right now. Stay tuned, keep your eyes on the timeline, and I will see you guys in the very next video.